Okay, so where we're at now is we're on cook-torrance specular, and we're also heading into the speeding considerations for Unity. Um, I've already covered Fong and billowing, and I've also covered some of the theory. There is a small amount of theory that I need to cover as we go into our last topic, and um, we're going to cover probably dual specularity before we go into the theory, because this last part of the theory is actually going to go on to our next topic, which is Fresnel or Fresnel. And I realized that I need to do this out of order. Okay, so I know that you had an error in your shader, and this is something that I somehow didn't catch. But the two problems in the shader where you had an error in, were the half vector and I believe v dot l. The problem with v dot l is that I was missing a closing bracket, and the problem with the half vector is that I had light direction xyz comma u direction, and it actually should have been plus, not comma. I originally had it like this. It should be plus. And the reason for this is because we are taking the two vectors and then we're adding them together and then dividing them to get the half vector. So that was a mistake on my part. There is a note down on the previous video showing you where the mistakes were. Okay, so we are in the Beckmann shader. So open up your Beckmann shader and do those edits there. And when we get to the GGX shader, we'll also fix those mistakes. So you'll have multiple videos to see where the mistakes were. And also make sure you have the Beckmann shader loaded into your scene. Okay, so now it's time to start coding. So what we're going to do is we can remove this comment, and we're going to comment out the Fong specular, and then we're going to come in and type in some comments. The first thing that I want to type in is the distribution function. So we're going to do Beckmann and we'll do distribution function for D. And so I think it's let me zoom in a little bit for you so you can see what's going on. I think it's going to be, we need to have a variable called roughness squared. And that is going to be equal to, we're going to use the property shininess. So it's going to be equal to shininess times shininess. And then I believe it is we are going to use, just taking us to a little log of the beckmann distribution function. This is probably not the best website to open up, but there's a reason for it. So we need to so the next line of code is half R1, and we're going to do a half R2, and that'll be equal to, so I should have had this up on another stream. So it's, I'll just paste it here. So it's 1 divided by 4 times roughness squared times the power of n dot h, normal direction dotted by the half vector, comma 4. So it's going to go up to the power of 4. And then this, I believe, is actually the numerator in this equation. And then R2 is n dot h times n dot h. Instead of doing n dot h times n dot h, we can declare we can create the variable, we'll create a variable for n dot h. So we'll do n h sq for n dot h squared and then we can replace that with n dot h squared here. The reason why I'm doing that is because I just don't like to have a lot of I would like to declare like some of these computations up here first before putting it into the beckmann function. I think it's cleaner that way. So now we're going to have we're having n dot h squared minus 1 divided by roughness squared times n dot h times n dot h, which means I'm going to use this variable again. It may be faster to just declare the variable up here, or declare is probably not the right word. What I'm trying to say is I think it's faster to find it up here and then using it multiple places down here as opposed to doing the calculation over and over again down here. So this is a beckmann distribution function as of now, and we have one more line which I think is another half, and it is well, I did a float, but I guess we can change it to float. Float is a little bit more precise than half. I don't know how much precision we're going to need here, but we'll just do float. And we're going to take this and we're going to call it B for beck, and then DIS, or technically I should call it D, but I don't want to call it D because I like to be more precise. But well, we'll just call it D, and then write a comment explaining what this is later. So now what we're doing is we're taking R1, we're raising it to the power, the exponent of R2, and then we're going to multiply this by the texture's alpha. And so the reason we don't have to, you don't have to do that, because the Beckmann distribution function, the last line just normally looks like this, but I am multiplying it by the texture alpha because I'm going to remove the texture alpha down here. And the reason why I'm going to do that down here is because ultimately this final lighting section is going to look a lot different because of the cook-torrance function. So I put the texture alpha up here. So that's it for the Beckmann distribution function. And then it's time to add in the geometric attenuation. Geometric attenuation G. And we're going to use cook-torrance version of the geometric attenuation. So cook-torrance is the one that I believe I was saying was implicit, but I don't know. The cook-torrance one also could be the implicit one. This is a website called Simon's Tech Blog, and he went over some microfacet BDRF stuff. It was a pretty good website. He has a lot of explanations, but he doesn't have the various components in there formed that would go into Unity. He has it more in the original mathematical form, and he has some examples. He also has a demo down here. It's not completely loaded because I have this in IE, and so I didn't allow for that X-active controls, but it's pretty interesting because it will you'll be able to change the different distribution functions and also the geometric attenuation functions as well. So we're using the cook-torrance geometric attenuation function for this one, which is which I have over here. So I'm gonna use halves. So I'm gonna have half geo. Let's see which one was which. I guess you could call them whatever. I'm just gonna say geo v, and I'm gonna do half geo d. Doesn't matter what you call these. And it's going to be equal to what was it, 2? This is yeah, this is the one I remember showing you before. 2 times I think one is 2 times n dot b two times n dot b times n dot h, and then this one down here is going to be 2 times n dot h times n dot l. And actually, let's just move this first parenthesis around the other end of this 2. And then that's going to be, both of these are going to be divided by something. And that something is going to be b dot h. The other one I think is n dot v. No, sorry, l dot h. I have it in reverse, so let's just the dot product. I don't think it matters which direction are ordered. I think they're L dot H and H dot L are both equal to the same thing. So H dot L, let's see, N dot L. Do I have an N dot L down here? No, I do not. Okay, sorry about that. I figured that there was probably going to be one that that I forgot to put up here. So half N dot L. Wait, what am I doing? No, N dot L is here. N dot L. N dot H. B dot H. H dot L. N dot H. N dot B. Okay. Losing my mind with all these similar names. Okay, so semicolon, semicolon. And then now for the third line, we're going to have G. We're just going to call this one G. And it's going to be minimum 1, min, again. And then we're going to have GO, V, and then GO, D. And we should be good. Okay, so now that we have the distribution function and the geometric attenuation over with, it is now time for Fresnel. And my Fresnel function is elsewhere because I don't normally use that one, but I'm going to have to use it anyway. So we're just going to use Slick's approximation, which is going to be, we're going to change this to, we're going to change that one to half. Actually, we'll just change all these to half. If it looks if in the end you think everything looks kind of odd, you can change some of these halves to floats. But anyway, so what it is going to be, you can name this anything, but usually I like to name it base. So we'll do base because this is kind of what well, we have the base and we have the exponent. So I just named them accordingly. So we have 1 minus v dot h semicolon, and we'll have exp, because it's the exponent, but we can't do that, so we'll have exp, and we have power, and that's going to be a power to base. We take it to the 5th, and then we'll name this one f, and f is going to be equal to f0, but we're not actually using f0 in our properties. What we're using is rem power, and we're calling it f0. I like to not have f0 down here because it's kind of just, it can be confusing just looking at f and then f0 and then like, okay, which one is the variable and then which one is part of the function, especially if you have a lot of code going on. So what we're doing is we're just going to replace the f0s with, well, I'm replacing the f0s with rem power, but you type out rem power plus 1.0 minus rem power times exp or whatever you happen to name this function. So that's 6 for now. Or it's I honestly can't pronounce his name. It's Slicks or Shix. Am I spelling that right? Yes, I am. So at some point we're actually going to change this and we're not going to be using Slick's approximation, but I'll do that when we actually get to the Fresnel section. But right now we just have to have a Fresnel in the cook-torrance function in order to make it work. So now we're going to uncomment specular reflection, and we're going to remove this section, which is the the Fong model. So we'll leave that as it is for now, but we have to go up here and add some more stuff. So now we need to deal with that K value. Oh, so so there's a K value for the cook-torrance function, and the K value was it looked like it had some other, it was based on some other stuff. So I don't think that the K value was defined for the cook-torrance function. I don't know if his website has that information up there or not. I don't know if it shows it. Well, it looks like there's, oh, that's a different equation. Hold on, I want to make sure I want to show this one. this one? Okay. So, so there's a K value in here, and it doesn't look like it's saying what the K value is supposed to be. So, there's multiple ways that you can come up for a K value, and it kind of depends on what geometric attenuation function that we use, that we may have a different K value. It depends on the equations that we, it depends on some of these equations for the different geometric terms, and yeah, geometric terms. Distribution term doesn't, I don't think that K in here is the same as the K that's in the geometric term, or the K that's at the end of the cook-torrance shader. So anyway, what we'll do is we'll just create a fixed, and we'll call it K value, because we don't need a half or a float here, and it's going to be shininess, I think. Yeah, it's going to be shininess, not shiny, not roughness squared. It's just going to be the shininess property divided by 2. And then we're going to take all of that, we're then going to go n.l, we're going to multiply this by n.l, and then we're going to multiply this by the K value. Oh, let me let's see what's going on here. I think I may have missed something somewhere. Oh yeah, there's another line of code. I forgot about that. Okay, so do what I said down here, and ignore this for now, but fix the K value stuff. But directly above the K value stuff, we need to create a half 3, and then we're just going to call it cook-torrance. And it's going to be D times G. And we don't need the pi, but we do need a 4 here. So that something I probably should have explained in a previous video is where cook-torrance uses that pi. Let's see if it shows the actual original. Yeah. So FGD over what appeared to be pi times n.l times n.v. It should not be pi, it should be 4. The original cook-torrance paper used a pi, but somewhere, I guess, in a preliminary paper they use a 4, and 4 is what you actually should be using, not pi. So you use 4. So it's going to be D times G divided by 4 times n.l times n.v. And I'm not going to actually put the F in there. It kind of causes some problems in Unity. So this is where the special considerations for Unity comes in at. So the Fresnel function does not work the way you would expect it to work, or it doesn't work the way it would work in the real world if you have it tied in to the cook-torrance function, and it has to be separated out, or either you'll get some very funky behavior from your Fresnel function. And the other thing about doing it that way is that, well, if you put it in there, it follows the conservation of energy issue, and so it'll be physically accurate when it comes to energy in and energy out. But if you put it in there, it won't look the way it would actually look in the real world. So I take it out at the expense of it being physically accurate. So I actually put it in the F term later on. But before we get to that, the first thing you need to do is just put in the cook. Is you just put the cook-torrance function together by creating a variable called cook-torrance, and you do d times g divided by 4 times n dot l times n dot b. Now that you've done that, then you can type in the k value, or you already did this actually. So now that you're done with the k value, now it's time to deal with this. So this, it needs to go down here. So this is the k value plus cook-torrance times 1 minus the k val, and you need to use not parentheses to close everything. And I think that should be it for this section. Now let's see what we do with the Fresnel effect. Okay, so Fresnel goes all the way down here. So we'll do F, I think it's F plus. Yeah, it's F plus everything else. So, in my experimentation, if you put it down here, it doesn't work right. If you put it in final lighting, it doesn't work right. If you put it in specular reflection, it doesn't work right. If you put it in a cook-torrance, it doesn't work right. You have to put it all the way down here. So let's see what happens after we save this.